I am here with Sandy, and I am super excited to have you on Renna's Corner Conversation, Sandy. The interesting thing is, I knew about you and Ben, but I didn't know I actually knew about you guys. So we will get into that, but I would love to hear just if you can introduce yourself
Yeah.
and we can talk about how my friend Erica randomly met your son Ben, but I'd love for you to share just a little intro, real quick, and then we'll kind of just have a conversation.
Sure, sure. So my name is Sandy. I'm a mom of three wonderful boys. They're all in their 20s and 30s now. But my youngest, Ben, was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. And so he started us on a journey that we never thought we would be taking. And I'm a nurse by profession. So it was really hard for me because I really felt like when you have a diagnosis, you kind of have a diagnosis and then a plan and then an outcome. And that doesn't work. So that was a little discombobulating for me to have to really try to figure out how to handle that. And then just some sibling issues, so things that we found out much later in life that we wish we had done differently growing up. So that was kind of amazing too. But I have three boys and they're all wonderful and we're really in a good place now.
Yeah, and so the way we got connected is my friend Erica was at the Hershey Lodge, and I think she had a meeting. I know her son goes to school out there, so it was probably like a combination thing for her. And I'm pretty sure your son Ben just approached her, and she told me this story, but I would love to hear your version of the story because I just thought it was amazing. And
Yeah,
I just
so
loved it so much.
Ben was presenting there because now he's a public speaker, which is amazing. So full time, he goes into schools, businesses, and does presentations about his life and journey through autism. But he just loves meeting strangers. Like everybody else is like, oh, I don't really want to talk to that person. There's just nobody safe for Ben. And so she was sitting there, kind of working on her computer. But it was interesting. She was facing outward, in that area. So he just went right up and started a conversation. And he usually wants to know who you are and what you do for a living. And then he just tries to make connections. He loves to figure out how that connects to what he knows or who he knows. And he was just thrilled to have that conversation with her.
Yeah, and it's so funny because we'll get to this too, but in your book, I listened to the audio version because these days, I love reading, but there's too much going on. By the time I actually read a book, I fall asleep. So
Mhm.
I listened to it, and there were so many similarities with Renna and Ben. Renna is now 6. So like some of what you shared when he was younger and some of those struggles. And then I just couldn't believe how he was progressing and all the things that he's able to do and does. And he really reminded me of Renna with the just wanting to know everybody. Like Renna is the friendliest little child. She doesn't speak with words, but
Mhm.
she wants to be friends with everyone. She wants to connect with everyone, and she does it in her own way. And sometimes it's not a typical way. So people are like, so similar, where Ben's just like, hey, let me find out about you and how we can connect and be friends. And Renna does the same thing without
Yeah.
her words. And sometimes kids are like, why is she touching me? She's trying to
Mhm.
communicate with you.
Oh,
So I thought that was a very similar thing with her not speaking, but trying to do the same sort of things
mhm.
that Ben is
Yeah.
actually doing. Um, so because I didn't purchase the paper book, I purchased the audio. I don't have like a copy of the book, but I did. Let's see if I can get it
Aw,
in. I did
that's
pull it
it.
up. I don't know if my computer is gonna really show it, but okay. So Ben, I guess, sold Erica his book, your book, and Ben's book, right? And I was like, oh, what book is it? Because I didn't recognize your names. But as soon as she told me the book, I'm like, I know that book. And when I pulled it up, I was like, yeah, I know that graphic. And so the reason I knew is because I'm in a lot of different groups on Facebook, like autism groups, things that have to do with disabilities, special needs. Renna actually has a rare genetic disorder called Pitt Hopkins syndrome. and she also has an autism diagnosis. But your book gets shared a lot in these mom
Aw,
groups.
I love
So,
that.
yeah, someone had recommended it, and this was before Renna even had the autism diagnosis. She got diagnosed with Pitt Hopkins when she was 2.5. And then the autism diagnosis, she was probably 4. I think she was 4
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we needed services. We needed ABA and additional help. So we sought out the diagnosis too. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I was like, no way. You met the 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 mom and
That's
son
so
that
funny.
wrote that book. So I was
That's
so
so funny.
excited.
Yeah.
Um,
So when Ben was 2.5, 3 years old, he literally was standing on my dining room table, shining that light in his eyes. He was stimming on the chandelier. And I just said to myself, oh Lord, if I ever write a book, I have my title. So I've had that title for 20 years in the back of my brain. But my sister-in-law gave me a journal when he was diagnosed, and she said, just journal. And I am not a daily journal. I don't have time for that, right? But I was so grateful to go back and read so many things that I forgot, funny stories, hard times that people helped us through. And that's really the crux of where the book came from. And
okay.
then it was really a family project because the front cover actually is our dining room and our chandelier. And so my son Dan took the
Yeah.
picture from our house and he formatted the whole book and did the whole cover art for me. And so it was really fun. And then Ben said, well, if you're writing a book, I'm going to write a book. I'm like, well, why don't we just put them together? So he wrote the back section and it's his own words and pictures of kind of his story and his life. So it was a real fun project.
Yeah, and the fun part with audiobooks is when the authors actually read the book. So I appreciated that too. And so I don't think we said the full title is Swinging from the Chandelier, Finding Joy in the Journey Through Autism. And I feel like you had a really good balance too, where you would talk about the struggles and then you would talk about maybe the things that you were fighting for or the things that you just hoped would happen. And I'm sure there's plenty of things that you hope you prayed would happen and they didn't,
Mhm.
but something else came from that because I feel like that happens all the time with me and
So
Renna.
true.
Like I kind of stopped praying that she would, well, I shouldn't say I stopped, but I used to just pray that she would talk, that she would talk. And now I have it more, I pray that she'd be able to communicate and others would understand her,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And anytime we lose maybe a person, um, like we've had different bus drivers, different
Mm.
therapists, different, we had to change our pediatrician because our insurance isn't covered by that,
Mhm.
the whatever.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't necessarily worry about it or try to control it. I just am always like, I just pray that Renna would get the right person.
that's
And
right. Right.
in the
Yeah,
beginning, it always feels like it's not because
yeah,
you get used to that person. And I know Ben had someone for a very, very, very long time because you shared that.
mhm,
And
yeah.
and there were times where I wanted to follow that person, but I thought, I'm going to just trust that this person has been placed in Renna's life for a reason.
Mhm. Yeah,
And I have yet to fire anybody, because we couldn't
absolutely.
do that. But
Yep,
I feel like everyone's had a certain role in her life. And I just love how Rena's brought all these people into my life that I never would have met. I'm
that's
sure
right. If
you've
you
met.
had told me back when Ben was diagnosed that he'd be doing public speaking, I'd be like, I don't know who you're talking about because this kid is making me nuts and I can't even keep him alive, right? It's just all about that like flight or fight mode. You're just trying to be safe. But
Hmm.
that's the whole point of why we do the speaking and why I wrote the book. I just want to provide hope. Not saying that everybody's outcome is going to be this, but it's just those people in your life that have just poured into your life and changed the outcome, right? There was one person after another that God just plopped in at just the right time and I'm always like, can I have the next 5 people? And God's like, you get one. I'm like, ah. I would like the
Right.
whole plan, please. But I vividly remember at one point when Ben was in high school, everybody was posting like where they got accepted to college and this is what my dorm room looks like. And he got really sad because he really wanted to go to college, but academically, it's just not in the cards. And it was really like, we kind of danced around it for a while. And then we're like, okay, Ben, like, why don't we look at an entrance exam for college? Right. Like, I hated to do that to him, but he needed to see that it was really not something that he could personally achieve. So, not everybody goes to college and everybody needs to.
Mhm.
And that was really eye opening. And then we found out really he wanted to go to college so he could live in the dorm and eat in the cafeteria. It really wasn't about the studying part. Like, we can meet that social need in a different
Yeah,
way.
right.
But
I
it
could
is.
see that.
Yeah, having to redirect those hopes and dreams, but he's living and thriving a really happy life.
Yeah, I would love to see him. Does he only go into schools to speak?
No, he'll go anywhere. So he's done a ton of schools, probably 500 or 600 school assemblies. And we've just heard over and over again that, it's the best assembly we've ever had from educators who've been in the business for years, which is just so exciting. And then the students, it really gives them context to hear about autism from somebody with autism. But
Yeah.
he's also gone into companies, he's done professional development for educators. So you'll have to send me like where your location is because, if we find an area where there's one that schools are hard, they don't let necessarily, strangers in, but something that's more open, I'd love for you to come hear them. It's
Yeah.
a real fun thing to do.
Yeah, so we're actually pretty close to you guys. My sister lives in the same town as you, and I don't know if you share that, so we don't have to share what town you're in, but my sister lives in the same town as you, and I grew up 10, 15 minutes away. And
Yeah.
right now I probably live like 45 minutes away
Okay.
from where
Yeah,
you
I'll
guys
send you
are.
some dates. Yeah, we'd love for you to come.
Yeah, and I probably would be able to get into schools because I sub as a para at
Oh,
Renna
yeah.
school. So I currently have like all the clearances. So I don't know. I don't know how that
Yeah.
works with outside
Yeah, that'd be
schools.
great.
But yeah, that would be amazing. I've seen some things on social media, but obviously not the whole thing is on there. Um,
Yeah.
does he ever come into, you know what? We should get him to come into Renna's school district. That's what we should
That
do.
would be awesome. Yeah.
She does have an amazing autistic support teacher, but she'll
Yeah.
only have her through third grade. But
Mhm.
I mean, I have a really good relationship with our principal at the elementary school. I
That'd
bet
be
she
great.
could.
I'll send you some info. Yeah.
Yes,
And the
please
message
do.
resonates from the youngest kids all the way up to, the college age. Like it's not a message just for one age group. He does kind of the bones of his presentation is the same because it's his story, but
Yeah,
he makes the messages and the stories fit the age group. We've just gotten such positive feedback from every age group. So yeah, I'd
yeah.
be happy to send you some
Okay.
information.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And I saw that he's super involved with the Eagles autism. Um,
Yeah.
we have not been involved with anything, but I always share in my Renna's Corner Facebook group about different events and stuff. So I'm always sharing stuff every year that they're doing. Um, I feel like every time I want to participate, we have something going on that weekend. But didn't he just do something with?
Yeah. So annually they do a 5K, either walk or run. And so he usually tries to run the whole 5K. And then they have a big celebration party that goes along with it. And to date, this was the seventh annual one. They've raised over like $50 million. So, I mean, over the course of that it just gets bigger and bigger. And then it's fun because the players are there. They'll do the bike 5K and you get to interact with some of them sometimes. And it's just a really fun event.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
because
then all that money goes to autism research, which is really nice. It's not paying for the overhead of the event. It really goes into funded research, which is really cool.
yeah, and I think I saw that Ben does a ton of the fundraising too.
Yeah, he
Which
loves doing
yeah, which
that.
I could see because I mean, my friend was like, and he sold me a book.
he's my he's my biggest PR guy.
Right? Exactly. I
Yeah.
was sharing with that friend and another friend. We were just sharing about how it's so interesting. Not every child that has autism is like this, but with Renna, this is true, and I bet with Ben, it's true. There is just something about our kids where they don't, it's kind of like they haven't been conditioned from the world to be so concerned about what other people are thinking, that they
Oh
say the
yeah.
right thing.
Yeah.
And it is
It's a blessing.
It is. And I know other people can feel uncomfortable, right? They're like you were
Yeah,
kind of alluding to where it's like, I don't know what to do with you. You kind of said it the opposite way, that he'll just come up to anybody while anybody else would just be like, I'm
yeah,
just gonna stay to myself.
yeah,
But it's just something so special that
yeah,
they they don't even, and when I say they, I'm Renna and Ben from what I know with Ben, but definitely from Renna. Like somebody, okay, this is just a random example that I just made up in my head. Let's say Renna and I are at Costco, and let's say a gentleman that works in construction comes in and he's all dirty and it was a really hot day and he's all sweaty and he looks, looks kind of gross because he just worked a really laborious job, right? We might look and be like, oh, he needs to go home and take a shower. Like he had a
yeah,
rough day. And Randall would probably go up and like pull on his dirty pants and try
yeah.
to like interact. And she's just like, hey, let's be friends. I do not care at all what you look like. I don't
Mhm.
care anything. She
Yeah.
loves the
Yeah.
person.
Dan says it this way. Dan, his brother, he said Ben's autism really is his superpower because he doesn't internalize social shame. And so even if you might be laughing at him, he doesn't really even get it. And so it's fine. And public speaking is the number two fear in the world, but Ben can do it because he doesn't care what you think. He's just, here
Oh,
I am, love me.
yeah,
And that's so true. And it's freeing. Like we all wish we could have a little bit more of that freedom to be able to do that.
exactly. Something I don't want to say off topic, but a little bit. So today was my last day in my mom group at church. So it used to be called MOPS, Mothers of
Yeah.
Preschoolers,
Familiar
and
with it.
then
Yep.
the moms who have children that are either kindergarten or first grade and older is Mom's
Jam.
Next.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. So our church, the mom, well now it's called Momco. It's all sorts of confusing. But the mom group for littles did not happen this year because they didn't have enough people for the childcare. So we could go into the Moms Next. Well, Rena's in kindergarten, so technically I could have gone either way. And I thought, well, I'll go into the younger one because this will be my last year with these ladies. But it didn't happen, so I signed up for this next Mom's Next group. And so today was the last day, and the table leaders gave everybody at their table like a certificate. And I left it at work on purpose, but it was basically this person is the most blank. And not that I was surprised, but I was like, oh, yeah. So mine said the most adaptive. And then she started telling me why. And she's like, I I don't know if she said that she wished she was more like that, but she was kind of alluding like this is such a good quality and I admire it. But she said something like you can just like get thrown into anything and you just go, yeah, we'll just figure it out. And I'm like, I do that. I don't know that I've always done that though. I really think Renna, well, I know Renna has changed me a ton, but I think that's one of the ways that she has changed me because like I don't know if you said something like this, but with Renna's diagnosis, up until 2.5, I was like, okay, she's just delayed. She was born right before the world shut down, like a week before the world shut down from the pandemic. She's just delayed. We'll just do therapy. We'll just get her this special doctor. We'll just do all the things and she'll be fine. And so I was just constantly like doing the things. And I left my job when she was 1.5. And I was like, oh, she's delayed because of the pandemic and because I was trying to work from home because my job was always work from home. And then when I got the diagnosis, I was like, oh, like I can't fix this. Like this is not going to just go away. And actually was
Mm,
really upset because I kept thinking, do all the things and she'll be able to do.
Uh, I had the same exact experience because Ben's diagnosis, they didn't call it autism, they called it PDD,
No.
NOS, which was pervasive developmental. And I thought it was delay, not otherwise specified, but it's actually a disorder. And I vividly remember this specialist saying, like, this isn't a delay, it's a disorder. And I have the same thing. I'm like, okay, we'll just catch up. We'll catch up. And then it was like, oh, there's such a huge wide gap here that we may never catch up and we just have to maximize. And it was that same kind of feeling.
Yeah. And I think once, and this is a journey, but once I came to accept,
Mhm.
and I think me sharing Renna's journey really, really helped me because I started sharing on Instagram and Facebook. And instead of me focusing on what she couldn't do, I would take videos of the things she was doing. And then I'd watch it and I'd be like, oh my word, I didn't even notice that she did that, or she was communicating and I didn't even know it. And another part of why I started doing that, besides somebody once told me to be a little more transparent, um,
Mhm.
just when sharing stuff. And obviously, you have to be careful with how
Yeah.
transparent you are. Are people safe? Is your audience safe? Things like that. But um, I also took a class, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was about communication, and it was basically how to like how to see that your child was communicating without words. And so we
Mm.
had to take some videos and we had to view them in class. And I think we had to talk about them based on whatever the topic was. So those two things combined really helped me to start looking at like what she was doing. And even, I think I've shared this on other conversations, but I love hiking and I love mountain biking. I'm not going to be able to bring her mountain biking the way I used to, like going down a hill of rocks, but I can go biking with her.
Mm.
She has a little Amtrak right now. We're gonna upgrade to a like a bigger bike, and then eventually I want to maybe even get her. I was looking at this tandem bike
Yeah.
where she would be in the front so I could see her. She could pedal, and then I'd be
Yeah.
in the back, and it's like two wheels in the back. So I'm looking at that. The only thing that's stopping me, well, besides the fact that it's like $8,000, is you can't just put it in your car. You
Oh.
literally need like a trailer on the back of your car.
Oh, that's frustrating. Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't have a trailer. That's really expensive. So I'm not actively looking
Yeah.
into that anymore right now. But
But look
so,
how you include her in the things you love, right? You just include
yeah,
those in the things you love.
exactly. So we'll figure out how to bike together. Right now, it's me walking and me helping her navigate these
Mhm.
bikes. I love hiking, and I partnered up with a company called Freeloader. And so I want to say it's similar to like a baby hiking carrier, but at the same time, it's very different. But a child up to I think 80 pounds can be on your back in this
Wow.
carrier. Not that I want to carry 80 pounds
Yeah.
because even her 40 pounds is so tiring. The last time I went, I, I was I was leaving my friend like a voice message and I'm like she's on my back and I'm getting back to her via a voice message and I'm like and I was on a flat trail. I'm like, oh my word, this girl is heavy. So, might not be the incline that I'd prefer to do
Mhm.
and the challenges,
Yeah.
but she can go hiking with me. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of looking at things and then saying, okay, maybe she can't do that or we can't do that, but what can we do? What
Right.
can we
Absolutely.
enjoy together? And so a lot of it is just adapting, I guess,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Going back to what
Absolutely.
the other mom said I was. So,
Mhm.
is there anything similar to that that really stands out that you had to maybe think about things differently or
Yeah, I think that, initially thinking that we were just going to catch up, and then I really had to sit back and say, okay, what can he do? And how do I know where that line is? That was what was really frustrating. Like, I don't want to frustrate, but you also know that things that we don't enjoy, we don't pursue. And so like sometimes the opposition isn't I can, is I don't really want to. And
Mm.
like trying to determine where that line was. So like pushing him academically as far as I felt comfortable, but not selling him short. I would love him however that landed. But I think that was like the biggest thing, at just figuring through those things academically. And then even biking, I can't even tell you how many sets of training wheels Ben broke because he's just huge. And so he would lean to one side and the wheel would pop. My husband like made him these like sturdy ones, but he's really not strong with the gross motor. And so that wasn't something he ended up enjoying. So it's all about just being adaptive to the things that, they want to do. But he'll walk forever. He'll walk 6 miles because he just loves to walk and talk to people. And so those are the things that we enjoy together.
Yeah. I think I saw that he's doing something new.
Yeah, really excited about this. So, um, Ben lives at home right now, but he really wants to live independently. And so, again, it's one of those things like, okay, Ben, there are so many things you've accomplished and conquered, but we're not really quite ready to just like ship you out into the world. And so, he and his brother started a nonprofit foundation called Benergy One Foundation. And the idea is to promote housing for people on the spectrum that want to live independently, that just need a little oversight, right? So Ben doesn't want to live in a group home. That's like something he's really adamant about. He doesn't want to be a part of that. He also doesn't want to live with his mommy for the rest of his life or his daddy. So it's like, where's that in between part? So this foundation, we actually have a property that we're looking to buy. It's all in the works right now. And Ben will have his own apartment, but his brother Dan will live on campus with a little separate building to be there as oversight. And then there's enough apartments to have other people participate. So we're in the process of fundraising to buy that building, but he's really excited about that launching to independence.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. And there are so many times I find myself putting limitations on Renna. Like
Mhm.
even as you're talking, I'm like, yeah, Renna's not living independently. But maybe she
Yeah,
could. And I
but it
feel like
could be with support. Yeah.
yeah, there's so many people who are doing big things to
Hmm.
help people like Ben and
Hmm.
Renna. They
Yeah.
really are. Like Tim Tebow's doing something, I think, in the
Oh, great.
Poconos.
Hmm.
And Ren and I are going to visit Ability Tree goes into churches and helps equip them to have like a special needs ministry where kids
Wonderful.
obviously go and they have a camp. And I forget the town, but it's only like an hour away from us. We can't actually go. Rena has something on her schedule or something, but
Yeah.
I had them on the podcast and we're gonna go just a Saturday and check it
Great.
out. Like there's so
Yeah.
many more things
Yeah.
popping up, and especially because I'm looking for these things and
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
connecting. I'm not on the level that Ben is.
Yeah.
I love connecting with people
Yeah.
and just learning about more things or finding things and
Yes. So
seeking
two
them.
things to check out. Johnny and Friends. Are you familiar with Johnny Erickson? So,
Yes, but
so she has an organization called Johnny and Friends, and they run camps for whole families. So you go for the whole family goes, and then they give you an assigned person that takes care of your child, so you can go and enjoy your day and be a part of the pieces of it. So that's very cool. And then there's a ministry called Bethesda. Under See Jesus is their header, and they do adaptive curriculum because this is another thing. Ben really got struggled in the school in the church. He wanted to be a part of the youth group, but all the material was like over his head, and then he only wanted to just go sing. But this adaptive material is so wonderful because they really teach Bible lessons in a way that these kids can really understand and be a part of that. So you're right. There's some really good things happening out there.
yes. I'm gonna check time. We have about 6 minutes. So,
Yeah.
trying to think if there was anything else that was really on my mind to talk about. Did you have anything that you're like, oh, I definitely want to share about this?
Yeah, I always wanted to share with parents. Like initially, there was just automatically, I felt really guilty. Like, what did I do? And I always want to share that message that just it's useless. So you didn't cause it, you couldn't have prevented it. And so then we ended up starting to participate in some research studies through Children's Hospital of Philadelphia,
Mm.
just as a way to kind of give back. But I think it's really important to get that message out there that feeling is just useless energy. And then just loving our kids who they are, maximizing their strength, finding their passions. Ben is a huge roller coaster fanatic, and we have been to a bazillion amusement parks across the country. His brothers are like, please don't ever take me to another amusement park. They're just
Right.
done with it. But it's a great way to teach, right? So when you're struggling with math, if you talk to him about how many roller coaster cars are there and how many people can fit in every roller coaster car, you can teach multiplication because he's talking about roller coasters, right? So
Yeah.
it's always about trying to find those ways to make it about their passions, but still try to sneak in that learning.
Yeah. I actually am going to Dorney Park
Are
on
you?
Sunday. Yeah. Um, there's an organization called, let me just double check, make sure I'm saying the right organization. Because again, I know lots of them and
Yeah.
we've been able to do a few different things with different organizations. It's called A Kid Again.
Okay.
And so our family's able to go to Dorney Park and the cost is covered, which is really nice because
Yeah.
Renna usually is pretty good with stamina and pretty laid back. But you never know.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's just kind of a rough day or if it's gonna be hot and it isn't able to like
Yeah.
regulate the heat. So to spend, oh my word, it's so expensive now. Like
Yeah.
parking alone, I think is $40. Like
I hate that.
insane, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't take her to a lot of
Right.
places. And we've been
Right.
able to experience a lot of things because of organizations like this. So we're super
Yeah.
excited to go.
Nice.
I have no idea what the weather is going to be like, so I don't even know if we'll be water park, maybe both,
Yeah.
but it would be really funny if I was at Dorney Park the same time as Ben because I mean, I'm 46 and he's what, 28,
Early
20s,
28.
28. But we used to go every summer, not the whole
Um,
summer, but every summer we would go for my dad's work party. And then my
yeah.
sister and I used to go once we could drive. So,
Yeah.
but it's,
So Ben worked there for a couple years before COVID, and then the job kind of went away. But he has a season pass, so I'm going to see if he can go on Sunday. I would love for him to get up there and meet with
yeah,
you.
that'd be
But make sure
awesome.
you get the disability pass. I don't know if you've been to amusement parks. Every amusement park you go to guest relation, and they have some type of disability pass where you
Okay.
can get a time, so you don't have to wait in the line. So it's not necessarily
Oh,
cutting the line, but you don't have to stand there for the hour. You might have to queue for something. They give you a time, and you come back, which
oh,
makes it really nice. So yeah,
yeah.
definitely check out guest relations when you get there. But I'm
Okay.
gonna I'm gonna check out and see if maybe he can come up and at least say hi for a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And
Yeah.
that's good to know because Renna, she does not want to hold still at all. She started walking when she was 4.5, but she does not
No,
want to hold
yeah.
still at all. Like, she just does not want to be contained. So
Yeah.
I do have to bring her stroller when we go
Yeah.
places. She has like a medical stroller.
Yep.
And thankfully, she likes the stroller and she doesn't usually fight to get out of it. If there are friends walking, she does not want to be in it. But if she gets tired, she will like
Yeah.
come over and tap it. Like we were at the Lehigh Valley Zoo with some friends and she kept wanting to get out because they were out and walking.
Yeah.
And then she would tap it like, I'm tired, I want to sit down. So
Yeah.
I always have to lug that thing around. It ends up being the thing that holds all of our stuff half the time,
Absolutely. They're a
right?
blessing, those strollers.
I know. Um, all right,
Yeah.
we are coming down the last minute and a half. Yeah, I just feel like your book was a huge encouragement, and I see why other moms recommend it because it really was. It was a good balance of lots of things. Um, I personally love how you were sharing your faith in it because I am everything that you said, I'm like, yes, yes, So the different things, the struggles, the things that he's doing, the trusting God, all the things I felt like were such a good combination. It's similar to like I went to this mom's autism luncheon in Lidditz, and it was amazing because it was like a faith-based event plus autism. And
I was at the one in Stroudsburg.
yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to the live one, so I drove
Yeah.
like 2 hours. But I do much better live, and it was really
Yeah.
good. And I'm hoping to go in the future, but
Yeah.
we're about to get cut off. So
Okay. Just
I,
want to let people know they can get to our website at benergy1.com. So there's lots of videos on there. If you want to hear more about Ben's story, there's just tons of information there. So